Hello and welcome back. Guess what? It's time for another unboxing. Hello, welcome back to my world of stuff. My name is still Paul Mount. Don't worry, it's not all unboxings, it just happens to have been that this week there's been a couple of big new box sets which have arrived, which I thought I would display for you. The Curse of Frankenstein 4K set which came out and arrived earlier this week that you seem to have enjoyed looking at. That's done quite well. I think this one will also go down quite well because even though I referred to the fact I was expecting this in that last video, I didn't actually think it would come this week because it's not due out until Monday. It's arrived today, Friday, courtesy of Mr. Zavi. I love Mr. Zavi. He's a good man. And it's the new Doctor Who box set. Doctor Who Season 13. I've been really looking forward to this because this, as I think I mentioned in my recent video about certain comments made about Doctor Who by Robert Shearman and Philip Hinchcliffe, that it's possibly my second favourite classic season of Doctor Who, after John Pertwee's first season, and it's finally arrived as part of the new Blu-ray box set collection from the BBC. Really anticipating this one for a while. I love the special features that come with these episodes, and this is just a great batch of Doctor Who episodes, in fact. So, shall we unbox it together? I think that's a good idea. So here it is, a very wonderful thing in its box, Season 13 of Doctor Who. Let's tear this bad boy open in the traditional clumsy fashion and get rid of the box, and there it is, Doctor Who Season 13 on Blu-ray, and it's in great condition as well. Zavi, to be fair, they pack these things really well. There's no bumps or dinks or lumps or anything knocked out of this. It looks fantastic. It's in pristine order. So without further ado, because we don't like ado around here, we shall crack this open. I shall get open the cellophane in which it is housed, and we'll take a look at what's in store. You will have already, I'm sure, seen some unboxings because I know that some people have had their copies even earlier than me. And you will have seen the packaging. I mean, it's the normal standard sort of packaging for these things, which I'm having trouble opening. But it's always nice to see it, especially if you're waiting for it. I will now take off the cellophane and show you it when it's fully open. So there it is, free from its cellophane harness. I'll just adjust the camera maybe very slightly. And I will point out, in fact, before I start looking into this, there's another Doctor Who item which I'm going to display at the end of this video. So if you're not interested in looking at this box set, what the hell's wrong with you if you're not? There is another Doctor Who item which I shall be disporting when this unboxing is finished. Now I'm looking at it, you can see that there's a slight indentation there on the cover. These things like that don't really bother me. As long as what's inside is in great condition, I don't mind a little problem with the boxing like that, because it's not really about the boxing. The boxing's lovely, they look great, they always look great, but ultimately it's about what's inside. So here it is then. This is season 13 of Doctor Who, classic season, Tom Baker's second season. He is at his height really in this season, and Philip Hinchcliffe, the producer, and Robert Holmes, the scripter, that are at their height in putting together a new bunch of episodes that took the show in slightly different directions to where it had previously been. As usual, it is packaged in this rather nice J card with the Doctor Who season logo on the back. There you will see all the goodness that's inside, all the special features. There's some great stuff on here. We have the usual behind the sofa, those once watch video goggle box type things with Doctor Who alumni watching the old episodes. Brand new documentaries, including an exclusive season overview, which will be extremely interesting to see because this is such an important season in Who's history. And the profile of actor Ian Marter, which I'm really looking forward to seeing, because Ian Marter, as many of you will know, played Harry Sullivan in season 12 and in a couple of stories in season 13. And he left the series prematurely, and I think that the producer Philip Hinchcliffe, he has often said that he regrets writing Harry Sullivan out so early. He was cast in the role in case an older actor was cast to play the Doctor following John Pertwee. And when Tom Baker was cast and it was clear he could do his own action scenes, Harry Sullivan's character became a little redundant, which is a shame because he was a good character. But I don't know much about Ian Marter, the man. I know about him as the actor, the writer, but I don't know a lot about his private life. No particular reason I should, of course, but we like to know about these people, and it'll be interesting to know a bit more about his life, perhaps, rather than his private life. We've got Tales of the TARDIS. This is the 2024 version of Pyramids of Mars, with updated effects and linking material from Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson. Remember them? They used to be in Doctor Who. This was screened last year, or the year before, possibly, when Sutekh came back in the season 1 finale. Omnibus editions, cut down movie versions of Pyramids of Mars, Brain of Morbius, and Seeds of Doom. Looking forward to seeing the Seeds of Doom one, because I don't think that was ever transmitted. There are new surround mixes, new audio commentaries with Tom Baker on selected episodes, and archive treats, Blu-ray trailer convention footage. I know there's also, in fact, I'm surprised it doesn't mention it on the back really, there's a documentary which takes Philip Hinchcliffe back to some of the locations from the season, particularly Athelhampton House, which is where Seeds of Doom was filmed, and Matthew Sweet talking to director Graham Harper, the only director who worked on the classic series and the new series. I'm surprised they haven't advertised those on the back. Plus there's new special effects for Terror of the Zygons. The legendary Scarison creature has been tweaked and looks a lot better. A lot of good stuff on here. I am surprised that a lot of it isn't mentioned on there. So we open it up, and there we see a really nice piece of Lee binding artwork. He does really good work on these sets. Tom Baker in his Terror of the Zygons Scottish flavoured costume. And as usual, an array of the creatures that appear in the episodes. We've got the antimatter monster. We've got Sutekh, one of Sutekh's mummies, Morbius, the Krynoid from Seeds of Doom, my favourite Doctor Who story, and we've got a Zygon from Terror of the Zygons. It's a really good, solid batch of stories, even if one of them isn't one of the best Doctor Who stories of all time. It's always fun to watch because you've got Tom Baker and Elizabeth Sladen really firing on all cylinders here. You can see the problem with the box set. It's very slightly out of sync there, but as I said, it doesn't really bother me particularly. So we open it up. There we have a really nice piece of artwork. I mean, it's such a good piece of artwork. I mean, it's hard to distinguish it from a photograph, really, from Pyramids of Mars, the Doctor and Sarah outside the TARDIS in the sarcophagus room when they arrive. And you peel that open, again, another beautiful piece of artwork from Seeds of Doom this time. Tom and Liz surrounded by vegetation which will soon come alive. Beautiful, beautiful, just lovely artwork. Inside we get the usual stuff. Of course, we get one of these more exciting products from Doctor Who, which publicises various bits and pieces, the usual stuff. This is the one that's of most interest, of course. Inside we have this really nice piece of artwork of the TARDIS console room as it appeared in this season, when it appeared. Don't actually see a lot of stuff in the TARDIS in this series. I think it's, as I recall, it's just in Plans of Evil and Pyramids of Mars, a couple of scenes. And we also get this lovely booklet. Again, these are a highlight of these sets, and I did see somebody doing an unboxing earlier this week where he confessed that he didn't actually read them. And I must confess, I don't think I do either. I flick through them because they're very nicely put together. But I think I'll probably read this one because it is such a favourite season. Lovely portrait of Tom and Liz together there. Behind the sofa, welcome to season 13. Then a couple of pages on Terror of the Zygons. Again, beautiful art, great photographs in full colour. Really glossy booklet, really in depth. Plans of Evil. Plans of Evil is an interesting one. I'm looking forward to seeing that again because I haven't seen it for years. I've always been put off it slightly because it's a space opera story that's really hampered by the show's low budget at the time. Because at the time we had things like Space 1999 with Jerry Anderson's show, which was so lavish and so spectacular. And even though this shares a cast member, of course, Prentice Hancock appears as the commander of the Marestran expedition to the planet Zeta Minor, it does look a bit cash-strapped, but it's a very good story. This is very much a season where the show was riffing on classic horror and classic science fiction. Plans of Evil, for example, is a riff on the classic sci-fi Forbidden Planet. Pyramids of Mars, which follows then. Again, great photographs, great information and illustrations. Oh, a lovely illustration there. Again, that riffs off sort of classic horror, universal horror, Hammer horror, with the Mummy, Android Invasion. I'm not entirely sure what that riffs off. That's a Terry Nation script, which sort of riffs off the Avengers and those 1960s adventure shows that Nation was a contributor to. It's not a great story, but the first episode's very good, but it sort of loses its way after that. Once you know the secret of it, it's bit by the numbers. Brain of Mobius, of course, is a riff on Frankenstein. I do like the way that some of these videos do sort of complement one another, having done the unboxing of Curse of Frankenstein earlier this week. Here we get Doctor Who homaging Frankenstein in one of its classic series. Funny enough, Brain of Mobius, again, isn't a major favourite of mine. I can watch it, but again, it is very studio bound, very clumpy. I mean, it's a great script, good performances. Tom really at his best. You've got Philip Maddock as the guest villain, Professor Solon. What's not to like? But I don't love it. But the one I do love is The Seeds of Doom, which is just a fantastic adventure story which riffs on The Thing from Another World. Krynoids have that sort of fascination with me, possibly because of their connection to things like the Triffids, living vegetation in Day of the Triffids. And as some of you may know, a couple of years ago I did have the very great pleasure of novelising another Krynoid adventure for BBV, Bill Baggs' company. He had done audios of certain licensed Doctor Who characters and monsters, and he did a couple of stories based on the Krynoids, and I novelised one of them called The Root of All Evil, which I really enjoyed doing. Yes, the world's smallest publisher, but people who read it seem to like it, and you can still get it, so if you're interested, pop over to BBV's website and you can pick up a copy of The Root of All Evil, which is a sort of, it's not a sequel to Seeds of Doom, but it references it, and obviously it's influenced by it. And there we have it. Really nice booklet. On the back, we've got the publicity photographs which were used in that controversial sequence where the Doctor does a mind-wrestling battle with Mobius and shows previous incarnations of the Doctor, which have now been proven to be canon, really, because they've been established as part of the Doctor's past. So that's the booklet. Looking at the discs themselves, I really like the way that they have put the labelling on these discs. Really nice picture of Tom, Liz and Ian Marter on Terror of the Zygons. Planet of Evil then is a really nice picture of Tom and Liz together on the Planet of Evil. I know some people have complained because it hasn't got the monsters on the illustrations, but it doesn't bother me that much. It's nice to see the cast, Liz Sladen with a mummy to one side and Sutek, or whatever he's supposed to be, the Sutek jackal figure in the background there. There's 2 discs for Pyramids of Mars because there's so much bonus content, and the Doctor there and Professor Starman, played by Bernard Archard. Then we have the Android Invasion, which has got Tom tied up to the memorial at East Hagborn, which is actually the location, and one of the android sort of creatures behind him. Whoop. And then we go over to disc 6, which is the Brain of Mobius, which has the Mobius monster in the background, Sarah and the Doctor. And then my lovely Seeds of Doom, which had a really nice picture of the Krynoid creature, Sarah in her cold weather gear. And then disc 8 is also Seeds of Doom, which will also have some special features on it. And Tom and Liz from the very last scene in the episode, actually. And in the back, we have a picture of Tom from the title sequence. So that's the set. It is, I think you'd agree, very lovely thing indeed. So that's season 13 on Blu-ray. If you're interested in what special features were, and I'm always interested in hunting down the new stuff that's on these sets. On Terror of the Zygons, we do, as usual, get all the stuff that's ported over from the original DVD releases of these serials. And I never really know exactly what bits end up where, but I know everything from the DVD sets finds a place on the Blu-ray sets eventually. Terror of the Zygons has a director's cut, an extended version of part 1, which contains an extra scene. I think that's a deleted sequence of the TARDIS crew, or the TARDIS landing, and the Doctor, Sarah and Harry sort of walking towards the road where they get picked up. Updated special effects, replacement shots in parts 2 and 4. That, as I mentioned, will be the Scarrison sequences. They're going to look terrific. I know that the original Scarrison puppet has been restored by Neil Cole, and that appears in one of the features on here. And Mike Tucker, the legendary special effects artist who worked on the classic series, has created a new puppet maquette type thing, which has replaced the slightly ropey shots that appear in a couple of the episodes. I think some of this Scousing stuff is quite good, particularly in episodes 2 and 3, where it's done by stop motion. It has that Ray Harryhausen feel to it, obviously on the BBC budget, but they were quite limited in the shots they could do because that is a lengthy, time-consuming and expensive process. So hopefully the shots that don't work, particularly the final episode where the Scousing rises out of the Thames, which looks terrible, hopefully that's been improved. There are audio commentaries, a new audio commentary, Tom Baker on both versions of part 1 and 2 and 4 of the story. The original audio commentary, making of documentary. So a lot of stuff which has been ported over. Behind the Sofa has Colin Baker, Maureen O'Brien, Katie Manning, Janet Fielding and co. across all 6 stories. And there's other bits and pieces. There's probably new archive stuff I've not seen before. And then on Planet of Evil, I don't think there's anything really new on Planet of Evil apart from Behind the Sofa. There is a Philip Hinchcliffe interview, which I presume is an archive one. Again, I can't remember the stuff that was on the original versions. Pyramids of Mars has the updated special effects. It has a new commentary with Tom Baker on parts 1 and 3. Making of documentary, Dr. Ware, a Doctor Who pastiche included on 4 editions of the BBC children's programme Math Show. I don't know if that's new. I'm not sure if I've seen that before. The Omnibus repeat, Tales of the TARDIS, Tom Talks. I think Tom did an interview a few years ago and they've been cutting it up and putting on various box sets ever since. So it's always interesting watching Tom talk because you never know what he's going to come out with. The Android Invasion again obviously has, there we are, the Ian Marter tribute, which I'm probably the first thing I'm going to be looking at. Behind the Sofa, various clips. Brain of Morbius has, of course, the Omnibus edition in HD. That's a featurette on Philip Maddock, which I think is from the previous set. We've got Behind the Sofa there, of course. And on then to Seeds of Doom, which I think is where we find a lot of the new stuff. There's the Behind the Sofa, there's an outtake, which may be new. Graham Harper featurette, where he explains the jobs of production assistant and production unit manager. Graham Harper in Conversation. So that's on Disc 8, the Omnibus edition of Seeds of Doom. Graham Harper in Conversation. The Doctor Who Escape Room. And there's also a feature, I'm not sure what disc that's on, I haven't seen it, but there is one where Philip Hinchcliffe goes back to the locations from the season. And I'm not entirely sure which disc that's on, but it's on here somewhere. I'll find it. It won't get away from me. That's Doctor Who Season 13, available at last. And I will say that's pretty much my weekend spoken for. So yours will come soon, I'm sure, if you've ordered it. If you've ordered it from Zavvi, you've probably had yours today. I do appreciate getting these things early. It's really nice to get them early, especially when, as with this set, it is something to look forward to and I have been looking forward to. So hopefully you've either got yours by now or you'll get it in the very near future. That's Doctor Who, Season 13 on Blu-ray. Hoorah! I have one more thing to show you before I sign off. I have managed to get hold of one of the new character options, B&M Doctor Who figure sets. They're not figurines, they're the action figure type things from Revenge of the Cybermen. This is a re-release. This came out a few years back, but they put it out again in glitzy, glossy new packaging. Includes the Cyber Controller from Revenge of the Cybermen in 1975 from season 12 of classic Doctor Who, with 2 Cybermen, and you can see just in the corner lurking there, a deadly lethal Cybermat. These have been released not so long ago. I'm indebted to my friend Mr. Sean Alexander, who sent me one of these. I haven't been able to find them locally. I haven't been able to source them in any B&Ms around me. He managed to track one down for me and sent one to me, so I'm hugely indebted to him for doing that. On the back you will see Revenge of the Cybermen, a little bit of info about the story, and these are currently in their box. For the 1 or 2 people who are aghast at the thought of me opening these, I don't know if I'm going to open it yet. I might just put it on display. The previous one, which I displayed recently for Eve of the Daleks, I haven't got around to opening, so it's still pristine. And I'm not doing that for any, collector's value or thinking in 10 years' time this will be worth 2,000 quid. I just think they look nice in the boxes. In the back of this, you can see possibly that there's a mock-up of the satellite, the Nerva satellite that the story took place on. So that would normally have been part of a Collector's Corner video, but I haven't got any plans to do another one at the moment until I get some more bits and bobs. So I thought, as this is a Doctor Who unboxing, perfect place to show it. Right, so that's, let's show them again. Season 13 of Doctor Who on Blu-ray and the Cybermen. Oh, God, I'm a child at heart, and I don't care. If you're new here, please think about liking and subscribing to the channel. There's all sorts of stuff here. Not just unboxings, not just Doctor Who, loads of other stuff. Cult TV, cult films, collectors, bits and pieces, physical media updates, all sorts of stuff. So if you're into this sort of geeky stuff, this might be a nice place for you. So think about liking and subscribing. You can do that by clicking where it says like and subscribe, or clicking with your phone on that QR code, which will bring you into my world. And really after that, there's no escape. Right, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this slightly random, ramshackle look at a couple of new Doctor Who things. If you have, as I said, like and subscribe. I will see you soon. Until I do, keep taking the stuff.